Hello, good morning, good morning, good afternoon to some of you. Good afternoon. So, for some of you, welcome, welcome. Anybody new, welcome. Today, this is going to be a video about motivation, about your self esteem, about what you're struggling through, about why you're struggling through it, about different things that are going on perhaps in your life. What resonates with you, what makes sense to you, please accept it. And what doesn't, please leave it behind for somebody else then. Don't criticize, just take what you want from this, and whatever you don't, please leave it behind. Please feel free to comment in the comments as I'm speaking. You can voice your opinion through your writing on how you're feeling or what's going on. Today's motivational speaking, I have pre-recorded for myself different points so that I can not forget to bring them up to you as well, which is why I have my tape recorder in my ear. So first and foremost, starting with today being August 18th, 2021, it is Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. We are in the middle of the week and we are getting closer and closer to the weekend. For some of you, the weekend is favorable. And for some of you, the weekend is a bigger hassle, depending on what your situation is. So far, what we're talking about here today is to raise your standards. Raise your standards. A lot of us have obstacles, yes, challenges, situations, things that we thought were beyond our control, things that we can't conquer, deal with, solve, resolve. But we condition ourselves, we allow ourselves. So when we talk about obstacles, and these obstacles, we've conditioned ourselves to be comfortable with the situation, with the bad relationship, with the liars, with the manipulators, with the narcissistic people, with the bosses that don't give a shit, with the coworkers who could care less, with the people who don't take their job seriously, with the people that are not loyal or faithful, even to themselves. The decisions that we make in the moment are either based on love or fear. Simple as that. Decisions that you've made in the past are either based on love or they're really based on fear. You have to become accountable for which way you truly chose to stay in that relationship. Did you really stay in it for love? Was it really love? Was it really love? Or was it fear? Just saying. For some of us, we fear so much to be alone. We fear so much to have to keep working so hard by ourselves. We fear so much of not being enough. We fear so much not having enough. We need to start together. And again, this is a collective. We need to start together. One day at a time, one moment at a time, one decision at a time. Start by the way that you look at your problems. Start by the way you see your problems. Are you seeing your problems as a threat, as being a destruction to your life? Are you looking at them as if these problems can destroy you for real? We all need to make personal changes, correct? Agree? Everybody agree? We need to make personal changes. We need to make certain boundaries set, not only for other people, but for ourselves. We need to start to love ourselves unconditionally. A lot of us are wondering why we're not in a relationship, why we don't have anybody to love us. You're not loving you, so what makes you think somebody else is going to come in and love you? You want somebody to come in and you're wondering why they won't come or why they won't return or why they didn't stay. But the truth is, you didn't love yourself, and they saw that. So all you did was teach them what you believed. You taught them that you don't love you, so why should they? You taught them that you don't respect you, because if you did, you wouldn't allow them to do certain things over and over and over again. You're teaching people how to treat you by the way you treat yourself. The truth is, if you hang with people, you ever hear that saying, birds of a feather flock together? Okay. So it's true, right? Because if you hang with people who aren't trying to get better than where they are right now, they're not trying to say, okay, well, you know what? I'm going to go back to school, or I'm going to get a certification, or I'm going to get a license for that, or I'm going to take it a step higher. I really want to reach my goals. I don't want to stay this way the rest of my life. I don't want to stay in this financial position. I don't want to stay in this terrible relationship. I don't want to stay in this town. I don't want to stay in this house. I don't want to stay. Whatever it is you don't want to do, you need to take some action. You need to go over what your abilities are and make those abilities better. If you're good at something, then get better at something. If you're not so great at it, then practice more. You may have to practice more, 4 hours more than the average person. But if that's what you got to do, then you need to decide today to take a stand and say, you know what? I'm going to do that. You're right. If you're wondering why you're stuck and nothing's changing, your situation is the same, everything keeps coming around and coming around, the same shit. We get together, we hang out, we have great sex, we talk a little bit, we go out to eat, and then we break up. And then I don't see them for a while. And then we struggle, and then I text back and forth, and we argue, and this and that, and they're with somebody else, and then they're cheating, and they're lying, and da-da-da-da. And then they're back again, and then we do it all again. And then the same thing happens again. It's what you put in your mindset. Obstacles again. We become conditioned. We tell ourselves that it's okay. We tell ourselves that it'll get better. Meanwhile, if nothing changes, and I guarantee you, nothing changes. For a lot of you, it is hard to be happy when you can't be yourself. For a lot of you, you go to work and you put on this air like you're somebody different than who you are. For some of you, you're the brown noser in the room. You're the ass kisser to the boss because you feel like that's the way you're going to get what you want. I know I've been a boss before, and I've seen people that try to kiss ass, and I don't like it. They're the ones I will not favor. I will not. It's very clear. The ones who could just do the work and do the work well and hand in things that are completed and proofread before you give them to me. Now that will make me show favoritism. But because you bring me a cupcake or because you want to try to talk street to me, that's not going to work. How much of your life do you control? Ask yourself that question. How much of your life do you control? Or does life control you? Anxiety is based from fear. Anxiety comes from fear. Anxious, it won't work out. Anxious, they won't care. Anxious, they won't love you. Anxious, you won't be good enough. Anxious, they're going to let you down. Anxiety comes from fear. When you stop worrying about what other people think or what other people are going to do or whether somebody's going to love you or not, if you have to worry about that, they're not the right person. They're not the right person. If you get yourself to being sick and upset and obsessed over someone, why haven't they called? Why aren't they texting? I haven't heard from them today. It's been 2 days. It's been 3 days. You're allowing them to control your emotions and your life. You're allowing them to decide if you're happy today or if you're not. That is where you need to stop. That is where you need to cut that cord. Cut it. For a lot of you, complaining, crying, griping, it's like it says in the Bible, all you're going to end up doing is choking on your own dust. You're going to regret spending 5 minutes or 10 minutes a day crying and complaining about something you cannot change. You've wasted that time that you'll never get back. You'll never get it back. It's important to start working on yourself, develop who you are. A lot of you have to get away from these people who you are not being challenged by, or people who are not even challenging themselves. You're hanging with people that are stagnant, and you're wondering why your life is still stagnant. We want to go to people sometimes that are going through the same stuff as us. People that are dealing with cheaters, people that are dealing with liars, people that are dealing with naysayers, people that are dealing with financial issues, because we think they understand us. But all they're doing is going to hold you back, because misery loves company. And if they're not going to do nothing about your situation, then you're going to hang out with them and you're going to do nothing about your situation. You have to become the person who's going to refuse to accept less for your life. You have to become the person that's going to say, you know what? I am enough. I am pretty enough. I am thin enough, or I am thick enough, or I am fat enough, or I am happy enough, or I am tall enough, or I am short enough. I am just enough. For the right person, you're exactly who you're supposed to be. The way you look, the way you smile, the way you think, the way you feel, the way you give, the way you receive. Now, for a lot of you, there is going to be some things that are going to feel a little crazy. If you have nobody to believe in you, then you need to believe in yourself. Point blank. If you have nobody who's believing in you, that you can do something, that you can become something, that you can create that business, that you can become that millionaire, that you can become very, very independent, then it is important for you to believe that yourself. And don't let anyone else do that for you. For some of you, you have to realize when life is calling you to come out and do what you got to do, then it's important to answer that call, answer that door. Because when opportunity is knocking for you to change or do something different, it's important that you accept that at that time. A lot of you are thinking, well, if I do that, and I was waiting for that ex-partner to come back, and if I go ahead and date somebody else or try to move on, then I'm not going to have them. Well, you don't have them anyway. They're not there. So you have to kind of make a decision about what it is that you're going to do. A lot of you are going to have to decide what's best for you. For some of you, you might realize that you didn't really do a whole lot to promote things, to make things better in your life, to change the situation. A lot of you feel like, well, circumstances prevented me from doing that. A lot of people feel like, well, if I didn't grow up the way I did, or if I didn't go through what I went through, I could be better than I am now. I could do better things than I can now. But it's not true, because everything that you've been through made you stronger. You're still here breathing. It made you stronger. It made you more knowledgeable, more experienced than most people to be able to achieve the goals that you want. Don't quit now. Don't give up. Don't step back. You know, a lot of times people believe that reading a book is going to find a way to make you rich. I'm going to read this self-help book and how to become a millionaire in 30 days and all that. Books can give you some knowledge, and they can give you tools and education and value on how to move forward. But the first thing you need to do is take responsibility and say, you know what? I'm not going to be a victim anymore. A lot of you have lived your life as being the victim. When you're done playing that role, let me know, and then we can move forward. But if you keep staying the victim of that relationship, the victim of that sexual assault, the victim of that rape, the victim of that depression, the victim of that loss, the victim of that eviction, the victim of that family, when you can decide to say, it happened, I can't change it, but now I'm moving forward. God didn't bring you here to let you fail. He brought you here to help you to succeed, to be healthy, to live strong. If you're putting shit in your body, you're going to get sick. You're going to feel sick. Your body's not going to run the way it should. But if you're putting natural things in or healthy things in, and you're doing fruits and salads and fish and things of that nature, then you're going to get healthier your body's got no other choice than to get stronger. But if you're putting in sugar and you're putting in sodium and you're putting in all this other junk, these artificial sweeteners and all this other stuff, if you're doing all of that, you can't expect to get better. You can't expect to feel better. You can't expect to try and beat cancer. You can't expect to do any of it. Raw foods are the best. For some of you, it's important to create that vision that you're looking for, that dream that you want to achieve. You first have to create it in order to get to it. For a lot of you, fear is definitely something that will kill your mind. Fear takes you back to the limbic system of your brain. Fear helps you not to function properly. Your rational and logical thinking doesn't exist when you have fear. For some of you, fear creates that fight or flight situation, right? It makes you either say, oh my God, what am I going to do? Or you just run, can't deal with it. For a lot of you, literally, there's a place, if you watch different acupuncture, it can show you where certain places that you do tapping to help get rid of that anxiety, that fear. For some of you, it's like, you know what? Let your fears come up, acknowledge what they are, and challenge each one. Find a way to get rid of each fear that you have. Fear is one of the hardest things to get rid of, but fear, not even realizing it, is what we use to make answers, decisions, to base the life on. Fear has to do with uncertainty. You can't always predict everything that's in front of you. You can't be afraid to tackle something new, to date somebody new, to work somewhere new. It's kind of like when you're out in the water, and if you're riding the waves, if you're doing some whitewater rafting, it's uncertain what's going to happen. If you go visit Africa, there's no telling what's going to happen there. There are big animals and elephants and everything else there. There's so much that we're unconditioned to, but we're so afraid to try it out, to take a chance. If you're imagining bad things or fearful thoughts, you get so scared, you create this fear in your mind. But worrying is nothing but negative goal setting. You can switch that around and turn that negative thinking into positive thinking, and then take that power. Because whatever you give power to or energy to or thinking of, just how you manifest, you're putting energy to it. So when you fear, oh my God, I'm not going to get the job. Oh my God, I'm not going to pass the interview. Oh my God, I'm not going to have enough money. When you do all that, you're setting yourself up. You're bringing power to all that negative. But if you say, I'm going to be okay, everything's always working out for me, things are going to be fine. God has me covered. I know I can pay those bills. I know I'm going to get a job. I know I'm going to be married. I know I'm going to be happy. I know I'm going to find somebody to love me. But for a lot of you to sit there and say, well, I don't want to be fat. I don't want to be old. I don't want to be homeless. I don't want to be poor. I don't want to do this or that. That'll make you keep all that stuff. But if you say everything in the better way, more positive way, like I have this great new job, I have this great new relationship, I have this great new partner, I have this great new house, I have this great new car, you're planting the seeds. And if you try to think, if you put a seed in the ground and you pour some water, it doesn't pop right up and you get a tomato plant. No, the seed goes in the ground and it has to germinate, right? That's the first thing, which means it has to break open its little shell and the roots begin to go down. And they get the nourishment from the earth, from the soil. And then only then, with a little bit of sun and the water, the shoot starts to pop up from the ground. Doing affirmations, sometimes you might get, maybe you're saying, oh, I want to make money. I see myself getting money. I see a lot of money coming. You get a check for $20. You're like, that's not what I meant. I wanted millions. I need thousands. It takes time to germinate. You have to keep doing it and doing it and doing it. And it doesn't matter whether you can see the results or you can't. Sometimes it just takes time. A lot of people will get really busy with affirmations and you'll do it like 10 times a day for 3 days straight. Like, I didn't get nothing. Everything happens in the perfect time, space, sequence. And we know that. If you begin your affirmations for yourself, it's important to do them on a daily basis. Decide very clearly what it is that you want. Don't keep changing it up. Keep doing it in present tense, not past tense, not future tense. You have to own it as you speak it. I do have money. I have plenty of money. I will always be able to lend, never borrow. You keep saying things that you're planting the seed of thought that will germinate and grow and become what it should be. But keep doing it no matter what or where you are, no matter where you live. Do not quit. Keep going. All right? So I hope you guys understand this video. I hope you guys can appreciate me trying to show you that you are worth it, that failing doesn't make you a failure. See, when you quit trying, that's when you become the failure. Do you know that the person that invented the light bulb tried over 1,000 times and failed and then finally got it? Do you know that one of the baseball players, what was his name? I don't know if it was Hank Aaron, but he struck out so many times, but he became the most famous baseball player that there is. For some of you, there are so many avenues in front of you that you weren't or you aren't choosing to see. There is always going to be more than what you have currently. There's always going to be less than what you have currently. But you have to decide again whether you're going to still play the victim in the situation that you're going through right now. Are you going to let that still control you? Are you going to let that still dampen your day? Are you going to let that still make you sad today? Are you going to let that affect your income? Are you going to let that affect your job? Because at the end of the day, you lose your job because you're so sad and depressed about that relationship and you can't pay your bills and you become homeless. What do you think that other person's going to be doing? You think they're going to want you then and you have nothing? Do you think they're going to want you when you're on the street? Do you think that'll make them want to come back to you? See, so you always need to take care of you and better yourself even more. Don't allow somebody else to take your joy or your happiness. Don't believe that the naysayers telling you could never be a celebrity, you could never be a movie star, you could never be a hit musician. Want to bet? Want to bet? You got to say it as if it already happened. I already am the best musician. I already am the most popular singer. I already am the best YouTuber. I already am the best mom. I already am the best secretary. I already am the best worker. I already am the best friend. So you must love yourself. Believe in you. Because if anybody does, I believe in you. And I'm telling you, there's nothing that you can't do. There's nothing you can't learn. And there's nothing that you can't become if you so choose to. Don't let anybody tell you different. And like I said, anxiety comes from fear. It is always about a fear. So the minute you start to feel anxious, all right, what am I afraid of? I'm afraid they'll never come back. I'm afraid they'll never call. I'm afraid they'll never love me. I'm afraid they'll never want to be committed. I'm afraid that I'm being made a fool of. You can't change what somebody else is doing, but you can change what you do, what you think, what you feel, and what you believe. So with all that being said, love yourself enough to say, you know what? I'm worth it. I'm worth it. So I hope this helps, and I will be doing another video just like this to touch base maybe on particular situations that you may be going through. It won't be today, but I will be trying to do more motivational speaking to help you in a collective so that other people can also join in and comment as they have on here. You can go back and read it, perhaps get some advice, perhaps get lifted up, perhaps have somebody encourage you. Even when the video is over and it's posted, you can still communicate to one another about this video, about how you're feeling, about what people can and can't do. Protect one another, work together. We all have skin. I don't care about your color. Don't care. I don't care about your race. We are the human race and we all have skin. We are all God's people and we are all made to love and care about one another. So please take your time. Please enjoy your day. And please remember, when somebody doesn't look so happy or they're really maybe standoffish or rude or even cold, we don't know what they're going through. We don't know the path they're walking. We don't know what they're fearing in life. So just take the time to either smile or say something kind or encouraging to that person and just keep it moving. But they'll hear you and they'll be like, wow, I needed that today. And without even knowing it, you could change somebody's day, you could change somebody's life, or you can change somebody's mind about wanting to hurt themselves without even knowing it. But if you're cruel back to them and say, loser, homeless bastard, drug addict, this, that, say all that, you can be the reason they decided to just give up and quit. So decide who you want to be. Decide where you want to come from. And remember to treat people the way you choose to be treated. All right? So with that being said, I'm going to hang up on this and I'll be coming back for sticks. Did you get your money in for the sticks? I saw Tammy. I saw Shelly. Anybody else? I'm coming back in 2 seconds.